Welcome to In Depth, your weekly podcast from Press Xpress about news and newsmakers from India, Bangladesh, and beyond. We give you an in depth look at the top stories that are making headlines. I'm Tulika, your host from Delhi. A new movie by eminent filmmaker Shyam Benegal is shedding crucial light on the story of the birth of a nation, Bangladesh. It is a joint initiative between the governments of India and Bangladesh and follows the life story of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, the father of the nation and the first president of Bangladesh. And joining me today is Nusraat Faria, lead actor who plays the role of the daughter of Mujib, portraying the current Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. And also joining me is the man himself, Mr. Shyam Benegal. Welcome, both of you. Thank you for joining us today. And I'll come to you, sir, straight away. Why was it important to tell this story now?
Well, it's not a question of now. It's just a story that needs to be told anytime, all the time. Because, after all, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman is and was the man who brought freedom and created a nation. Now, not only was he the first prime minister of the country, but he was also the person who gave it a certain definite identity, which was different from what it was as part of Pakistan. At that time, there was a huge problem because although Bangladesh had a larger population than Pakistan in the West, but it had to listen to everything from the other side. Like, for instance, the national language. The national language was Urdu as far as Pakistan is concerned. But with the majority population of Bengalis, it didn't make any sense to have Urdu as the national language of Bangladesh. So naturally, there were people like the people in Awami League and the leadership, particularly Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, fought for for the language. Although the majority of the people in Bangladesh itself are people who are Muslim, but they didn't opt for a Muslim country. They opted for a secular country, and that was the great thing about Sheikh Mujibur Rahman and his leadership.
Nusrat, I'll come to you. In playing the role of the daughter of Mujib, what were the highs and the lows that you went through personally?
First of all, thank you so much for having me here. Actually, listening and hearing what Sar was saying was taking us back to the 2019 and beginning of 2020 when I actually auditioned for it. So I will just say the name itself carries so much of weight, carries so much of I wouldn't say burden. Burden would be a negative word, but it's just a sweet burden, the name itself. So when I was actually selected for it, trust me, there wasn't any highs and lows. I think the one thing that actually helped me during the whole process was everyone used to call me Hasina on set. And that was a joyride. I forgot my name was Faria. I forgot that I belonged to where I belong from. Everyone used to call me Hasina. Hasina is coming on the floor. Hasina is getting ready. Such a goosebump feelings, You're literally hearing someone is calling you by the name of our country's prime minister, and it's just automatically you started feeling it. The butterfly runs in your stomach, the adrenaline rush, and on you when you go to set, you see Sir, the most joyful and the most loving person, caring person who makes everything very simple. We used to go on set and ask Sir what we do, and he used to explain things to you so simply, so nicely.
So is this the first time that you worked with Shyam Benegal, sir? And you're calling it joyful. I've heard he's a tough taskmaster.
Oh no, he was the sweetest on us. I don't know who said it. He's the sweetest person, not only on set but also off set. I remember we used to stay in the same hotel, all the artists. So after our pack up, we used to go for dinner. So we all used to look for the chances who can sit with Sir and have dinner.
But so looking at the other biopics that you've made, and some of them are of prominent leaders, the names of which are the likes of Jawaharlal Nehru, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, Mahatma Gandhi. A lot was known about those leaders. When making Mujib, did you find it challenging or unfamiliar territory to understand the personality and the life of Mujib?
It's not a kind of direct answer, but still, I think one of the things that excited me about this particular project was that, in the case of most national leaders or people who have been, who've been the key figures in the creation of a new nation, for instance. There are people like, say, for instance, there's Mahatma Gandhi in India and Jawaharlal Nehru and so on. But you see, the difference between them and Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was that, you see, Gandhi had to neglect in many ways his own family, in order to do what he did. So his wife was neglected. In the case of Nehru, because the same thing happened, because his wife was dying she had serious illnesses, and she had to go from sanatorium to another sanatorium and so on. And he was in jail much of the time, and but they didn't really interact too much with each other. But with the Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, he had both a very fulfilling domestic life as well as he did in terms of his political life. Bangladesh, through the sacrifice of him and the people who were near and close to him, it created a nation that was absolutely like, burnished gold,
Sir mentioned domestic life of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. And in playing the role of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, are there any new things that you learned about her relationship with her father?
Felt Mujib is not only a father of the nation, but also he was such a big family person. Family was so important to him, no matter what. Even when he was in jail, he made sure all the kids are okay. He made sure all his children are doing fine. His wife is doing well. For a person who is so loaded with so much of tension and a lot of responsibility, when he also checks on his family, I think it's one of the biggest quality that any have, right? And also as his partner, Sheikh 𝗚𝗗𝗄𝗽𝗓 𝗵, our history doesn't speak much about her, but this movie is basically on her lips. She's the one who's introducing the movie to the audience, because it's her point of view, how as a partner he was, Mujib himself, how as a father he was to her kids, and everything. And also when it comes to the daughter and father relationship, and it's like whenever he says Hasina or Hashu, the moments, the joy concerning her. I remember there is one scene before Hasina gets married to Wajid. There is one scene in the jail that Mujib is saying that, have you asked Hasina if she wants to get married? Back in the days, in that, taking the concern of their daughter if she is willing to get married, because she is also actively involved in politics, in college politics and other things. So these sweet moments, I feel that I would have never got a chance to know about this if I wasn't a part of the movie.
In playing the role of the daughter of Mujib and to get under the skin of the character, what was the process that you used?
I remember the first day how I gave the audition. So there was like I hadn't knew something like that, more than like 300 or many more artists from all over the Bangladesh is auditioning for the role. So one fine morning, I got a phone call from Prime Minister's office that, there is a movie is happening, which is biopic on our father of the nation. Would you like to come and attend for an audition? Because there is a stigma in our country that we do, as an actor or as an artist, we are not accustomed to the fact that there is a process called auditioning, because we never went process. But I was like, yes, of course, thank God I have started my work in Calcutta, so that was like a good starting of my career. So I'm used to with this practice, auditioning for a role. And they have strictly told me, like, wear a simple tatir shari, which is a very traditional sari in our Bangladesh, and also no makeup. So I was like, in the morning, being a commercial heroine, going somewhere without a makeup, a bit like, okay, little things, confusions going on in my head. But I was like, okay, I'm sure there's something great is waiting for me. I went to Bangladesh television where the audition is happening. I remember Sar was there. So I entered the room and I saw the man himself. I was like, okay. And I started praying all this, that we call surah. And in our religion, it's like, I saw reciting all these duas and everything. I said, okay, don't be nervous, Faria, everything will be fine. So I went to the makeup room and they're like, no, you have to wash your face one more time. I was like, okay, there is nothing. I was like, no, you have to wash your face. I was like, okay, no problem. And then I was standing in front of Sir and the entire team who was actually auditioning for it. And I did my part. And I left for Sundarban. I hope you know Sundarban in Bangladesh. That time I was shooting for a movie called Operation Sundarban, where I played role of a researcher. So I was in Sundarban. There was no network zone because it's only the satellite phone is available. We were shooting in the middle of a sea, literally, and we were in a ship for almost 35-40 days. So there was no phone call. So suddenly I got a phone call in a satellite phone and somebody screaming from the other side. I was like, I have done something really bad. I'm going to get very badly scored. And what happened? They're like, oh, you're so irresponsible. We're not picking up the call. What happened? This and that, blah, blah, blah. I was like, sir, I'm out of network zone. There is no phone call. I haven't spoken to my parents. It's been 40 days. What can I do for you?
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, I have a news for you. You better come and meet me whenever you reach Dhaka. I was like, what's that news, sir? So you have selected to play the role of our, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's young age. At that time, I was screaming loud. And I remember all the tigers, bears, monkeys are hearing my from that. So that was
screaming loud in the middle of wilderness. And the rest is history.
I had a chance to meet our Prime Minister, and had a word with her. So I asked her, like, do you have any special suggestion or tips that I can apply while playing the role? She just said, like, you do you and just do it confidently. So that was her suggestion. And rest is Sir. Whenever I used to step on set, Sir used to tell me, do this, do that, keep that innocence on her face. Because actually, Hasina at her young age, she was very innocent. She was very emotional. She used to get teary very easily. I think that's one thing I connect with her because I can cry. Like anything it hurts me, I just start crying. As a woman, you could feel that every woman have a Hasina inside her. That's what I believe. The emotional, the home girl who loves to cook, who loves to do things for the family. I just had to trigger my inner Hasina.
Sir, I'll come to you next. I want to ask you, was language a barrier? Was it a challenge? Because as a director, you want to be satisfied with every scene that is being shot.
You see, I had excellent, as I said, excellent interpreters and also scholars of the language who were advising me on a whole lot of things because, I was making a film in a language that I barely understand. I had a person on the set to tell me whether the actors were speaking in the way they should or not, and so because I couldn't possibly say because I barely understand the language because I had to go and only judge on the basis of their acting skills, not their speech skills.
So you would watch the facial expressions and acting.
Yeah, exactly. I was paying a lot more attention to that sort of thing, body language and things like that. But the important thing was that the people who were advising, the scholars who were advising me also on the dialogue, and also when they were speaking, that I had a couple of people there saying, is their accent right? My problem always was, is their accent right? Does it seem like these are people speaking from Bangladesh? They are not speaking from West Bengal or Orissa or someplace like that. Which was very important. I wouldn't have been able to say that or make any difference, if I didn't have that kind of advice. And having these expert actors, I remember somebody else who was interviewing me. I said, I've never seen such a wonderful bunch of actors from Bangladesh. It didn't take the kind of time we worked out that it was going to take us about 3.5 months to shoot the film. But we shot it in less than half. I had days on my hand because I kept them all for this film. And we finished the film.
It seems like this was a very interesting journey, the making of the film. And what about the premiere? That seems to have been quite eventful day for you as well. What really happened?
So on the day of premiere, the first time I watched the movie in Toronto Film Festival, So that day I was like after the last scene, I think it took us almost half an hour to get to our normal zone, because that is something when you see it, it is something different. And also I was just thinking that who have experienced it, that is something that gives you a lot of goosebumps. So we all were literally silent, blacked out, how the last scene was shot. Hats off to Sir. I mean, beautifully portrayed. Everyone was crying. Everyone was, and the best part about Mujib, sir, I would definitely like to tell you, it's a roller coaster ride. There is some scene, they're laughing, they're clapping, there's like, yay, they're happy. The joy was there. And some scene I saw when I turned back, that audience is crying. They are crying, they're not literally weeping. So that's the achievement, when you see the movie that they are living through. So when I saw the movie for the first time in Toronto with 65 people. There was a very close group of people. We were just watched it in the festival. It was good. It was something that expected. But when I watched it with my crowd, my Desi crowd, the Bangladeshi people. So I remember the premiere was on Friday, and of course, as Sar said, Dhaka is always developing, so it's full of crowd and also it's full of traffic. So it was 7:30. The traffic was there. And in the morning, we watched it with our Honorable Prime Minister and her family members. So it was very organized, because the SSF was taking care of it. We had to reach 2 hours before. So there was no drama happening. It went very smooth. She praised me. She adored me. And I was like so happy, over the moon. But at night, so I was trying to travel from my where I was getting ready to the premiere hall. And there was full of traffic, and it was 7:30. Then I took a bike. I took those rider bike, wearing the full premiere outfit, wrapped myself with the dupatta, and got into a bike with 2 other bikes at my back. I was like, chalo, let's go to premiere hall. So that it was showing in the Google. It took 1 hour 15 minutes. I reached there in 17 minutes. And when I went there, I could see all the journalists are waiting, and I'm just fixing my clothes because I came by a bike. I have done almost 22 movies in the short span of career. I have seen premiere, claps, whistle, love, but this movie itself is something that it's just a part of your soul right now. So anyone says good things about it, you just feel okay, somebody is adoring your baby.
Bangladesh is going through a very crucial election season right now. Is there any kind of political message also that you hope to achieve through this movie?
The connection between the film and the elections, I don't necessarily have to see it in that fashion, because that was, when we were making the film, we didn't have the foggiest idea that it was going to, they're going to be general elections towards the end of this year. In any case, this film has been ready, more or less ready for some time now. Except for the different versions. We've got several versions now, because we have the film had to be subtitled in English, then it had to be the Bengali version, then they wanted the Hindustani version of the film, that is dialogues in Hindustani with an English subtitle, all that kind of thing. But, for me, the real endorsement of the film came, I think, when the film was seen by 𝗜παιχ 𝗗𝗲𝗽𝗓, because that to me was really my examination, because, not for any other reason, not because she's the Prime Minister of the country of Bangladesh, but mainly because it is her family story. When she saw the film, and I don't think she wanted an audience when she was seeing it the first time, and the film ended, and it was darkness in the theater, and she didn't want the lights to come on. So, one didn't know what it was about. I was just, kind of chewing my fingernails, saying, what is this? Did she like it? She didn't like it? What happened, But then once the lights came on, I could also see that she was just wiping odd tears from her eyes, So there was no question of asking her what she thought of the film.
What's the final message that you want to leave your audiences with?
This movie, it stays at the time of 50 from onwards, 1950 to the moment that he died. But some of the people of our country, maybe a generation of people knows it, who are probably 35 plus or 40 plus. But what about our Gen Z? Or what about our millennial kid who actually got born in 2000, who's already in their 20s? They don't know about our proper history or future, or our history, that what happened, what was the main reason, and they just know very, they're on a stage, it's a very shallow stage. They know it half-heartedly, but not fully. So through this movie, I would like to invite those generation people who doesn't know how Bangladesh was born, who doesn't know what happened, who doesn't know that how big of a person he was. So the Gen Z, the new generation, needs to go and watch the movie so that they learn about Bangladesh. Today, we are enjoying all the facilities of this country. We are speaking the most beautiful language of the world, which is highly celebrated. Our culture, our everything, it didn't happen overnight. So many people had to sacrifice their life. So many people had to give their blood. So when people go and watch the movie, they will understand the value of their country.
Well, on that beautiful note, I'll end this discussion. Thank you both for the lovely, lovely conversation.
Well, thank you. Thank this young lady as well. Wonderful. I've enjoyed this very much.
And I leave my audiences with the official trailer of this movie. Do catch the full movie. It's running across more than 700 theaters in India and Bangladesh. Feel free to share your thoughts with me on my email, tulika.bhatnagar@pressxpress.org, or on my social media handles, Facebook and X. Till we meet next time, it's Namaste from Tulika.
বাংলা আমাদের মাতৃভাষা নয়, বাংলা আমাদের মা।
But the new nation of Pakistan will have one national language, Urdu.
রাষ্ট্রভাষা বাংলা চাই, বাংলা চাই, বাংলা চাই।
আমি তোমাদের ঢাকা ফাঁকা কোথাও যেতে দিব না।
কালবৈশাখী ঝড়, কীর্তিনাশা বন্যা আর খেপা বিপ্লবীরে কেউ থামাতে পারে না।
Give us ammunition, give us rations, and then you will see for yourselves that given a chance, how the Bengali will fight. चावल खाता है
की जिनिस एने सदुलाल बीबी सकिनार लाइगा ভালো बीबी सकिनार लाइगा।
আমি তোমারে একটা পুতুল ঘর দিলাম।
ধানমন্ডি
মানতে হবে যে আমাদের প্রজাতন্ত্রের দুইটা আলাদা প্রদেশ হতে হবে, পশ্চিম পাকিস্তান আর পূর্ব বাংলা। ভুট্টো সাহেব, ওয়ালাইকুম আসসালাম। ওয়ালাইকুম আসসালাম।
I do not think that the people of West Pakistan will accept a prime minister from Bengal.
রক্ত যখন দিয়েছি, রক্ত আরো দেব, এদেশের মানুষকে মুক্ত করে ছাড়বো ইনশাআল্লাহ। এবারের সংগ্রাম আমাদের মুক্তির সংগ্রাম, এবারের সংগ্রাম স্বাধীনতার সংগ্রাম।